This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz. Very excited to be speaking with Cassidy Freeman about the righteous gemstones. How are you, Cassidy?
Yes. I'm really well. How are you?
Good. I was thinking about this because I've talked to a few of your colleagues, and I think I'm willing to bet that Amber is the most serious and smartest of all the gemstones. Do you think that is a fair
Yes.
assessment?
I would say, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Eli is more serious than she is, but I think she's definitely the smartest. That's true.
I also think for all the absurd antics on the show, the three gemstone children are perfectly partnered with like the only people they could possibly be with, which is nice
Yes.
because I feel like you are supposed to root for these characters, but it's very hard sometimes because they're pretty much, awful people in a lot of different ways. But again, I
Yeah.
don't think Amber is an awful person. I do think I wish we heard more of her voice sometimes because I think that Jesse's ego gets in the way sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, and I think in the first few seasons you kind of saw that a little bit more. These last seasons had so many incredible characters that there's only so much time in the day. But it really I feel that they are really well suited for each other. And I felt like this season what we got to see is a little bit of their past and sort of like the maybe rocky beginnings of a teen pregnancy and maybe the acceptance they had to have and as a family and as a couple.
I think we've also seen a lot, with the newer partners, working on the relationships, and I feel like they've already been through all that, and so they don't need to worry. That's why Amber a
Right.
little bit more because you were in less of the season, right? I'm not crazy. There wasn't as much Amber in season 4, right?
No, I mean, yeah, I'd have to like look at the timestamps of everything, but it feels like such a group thing that you're right. But you're right, Amber didn't really have like her own story the way that she's had in the past. There was just so many stories to tell. So you're right, yes.
I did enjoy the flashbacks, though. Did you do any work with the younger actors to try to like mimic stuff or vice versa?
It's funny. We don't work with them directly, but every single one of them is so like they take this job so seriously in a great way, and they all do so much work. They really do. They really study us, and it's so cool because I think you can see it. Originally you saw it with little Jesse and little Judy the most, just because their characters are kind of have these more characterizations or these like isms that they do. But yeah, even with my young self, I mean, she's awesome. I just thought that was so cool that they studied us.
It really is a very fun cast. I know everyone's obviously very exaggerated, but is there anybody who feels like they're just a little bit too close, maybe, to the character that they play in real life?
That's a great question. Um, I don't know. There's the two that I really see a lot, and I know they both study improv a lot, so I think they connect with their characters a lot. But Edie and Tony really do have these like I think they love their characters the most, which is a beautiful thing. I Edie's one of my best friends in the whole world, and so we talk about things a lot. And her ability to be like, I want everyone to let the Judy inside of them come out, and feel heard. That part of us that's kind of adolescent, but also like is totally valid in its feelings. And I think we just have to sort of like accept that part of us and let that part of us shine. And then Tony comes from a place of, or Keith comes from a place of maybe some shame or some worry. And I just feel like Tony has such a great grasp on who that person is on the inside. So that came to mind.
What do you like most about Amber?
Oh man. Um, I like that she holds the things that really matter to her, like close to her chest. I don't know. I think she's a really deep person. And I think that she's a badass when she needs to be, but she doesn't flaunt it. And that whole theme this season with the hidden figures and maybe you could be the person behind the scenes, that's what she's been for Jesse all along. And I think that there's a lot of strength in that, a lot of like quiet strength. And I really admire that about her.
And she also introduced this season's most important guest star, the non-human guest star, who
That's
had
right.
quite a positive effect and real, red herring there with the evil intentions and what we thought was going to happen.
Right. I know that moment where Dr. Watson's holding that hair dryer over the bathtub. I'm scared. I'm scared watching that. Um, but no, I think that was such a fun addition. And all of us were like, take care. It was all about taking care. There were two of them actually. There were two monkeys. Take care of the monkeys.
Well, the show really does send up a certain population who I think can't be quite as ridiculous in real life. But I feel like anybody watching, which I think this is probably too objectionable for its, non-Christian content, but anybody watching would probably want to see themselves most in Amber, right? Because she's the least
I
over
mean,
the
from
top.
your mouth to God's ear, yeah. I mean, yeah, she's the least like fucking crazy. Yeah, I think so. Um, she has the most like emotional intelligence, probably. But yeah, but she also has to play a role. And for people who maybe like the limelight in a way. I remember, I think it was season 3 where she sort of has like her girl group and she sort of gets a little bit of the limelight, and Jesse's like, what's going on here? Like, she can get it and she can take it. And yeah, I think she's a vibrant character. That's a kind thing to say. I'm gonna take what you said and think about that.
Have you heard from fans? Do they engage with you like in any way?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Instagram is like the greatest melting pot of all everything. And I do sometimes have phone fatigue, I won't lie, but it's really fun. And Edie and I were just texting last night about how lovely and like overwhelming and amazing the response has been to this whole season and to the end, right? To the feeling that this is the end and this is an era, and it survived COVID and it survived strikes and it survived like all these things, and some of us had kids and like some of us lost it's a lot of life happened in the last 6 years, I think, globally, but also in our little world. And to feel like we affected people and we brought joy and we brought laughter in a time when things maybe felt dark and feel dark, it's really warming, and it means a lot.
If given the opportunity, would you reprise this role in some capacity?
Any day, every day, all the time. It's Amber is the coolest. It's funny, the last day, when we all finally knew that this was actually our last day, I was crying because I knew that like I wouldn't see these people in the same way all the time again. But they're my friends and I'm gonna see them. I had this moment of real grief to lose Amber. I didn't, I was gonna miss her. I was gonna miss the fucking 2 hours it takes to curl my hair and put on lashes, and like it just they become a part of you, these characters, and I'm gonna miss her a lot.
Well, I remember first seeing you on a very different show, which was Smallville, back now, I
Yeah.
think probably almost 20 years ago. And that was a very different circumstance because as opposed to being, such an established part, you came in to replace, I think, a very beloved and hated character in many ways. How do you look back upon that? And I'm sure that because that's Superman, it follows you just in terms of fans, from then.
Yeah, it's funny. I've gotten to a point in my career. This might actually like define success. I've gotten to a point in my career where I don't know when someone says like, "Oh, I love your work," or like, "I really admire your work." I don't know what they're talking about. In here in New Mexico, it always used to be Longmire, just because we shot here and everyone here. But and now it's running the gamut, and it's awesome because sometimes I will get someone who's like Tess Mercer, and I'm like, yes, that's so cool. Something I've loved is that the big jobs that I've had, these long running shows, have all been incredibly different genres, different characters, and that to me is a dream as an actor because you don't get pigeonholed as like the one thing. You get to just explore all these different parts of yourself. And I'm grateful to the people that run these shows that trust me to do it.
I was going to bring up Longmire because I think I'm one of its youngest fans. I think that was a show that like the
Yeah,
demographic
probably.
was like
Probably.
75 and up or something. And
Yeah,
I do wonder,
if I had a dime for every time someone said, my grandma loves Longmire, I'd be rich.
but like I feel like the Smallville, Longmire, Righteous Gemstones, there can't be that many of us that, like those three shows and get into them, but maybe there are.
Right, right. No, I don't know. I'd love to meet those people if they exist. But I'm glad that you're one of our youngest fans. I appreciate that.
Well, I think it's also it's not a like glaringly original show. Like there are a lot of shows sort of like it, but there's something about it that just like is a great hook. The characters are great, and just the friendships and the cultural dynamics. And I don't get it. Like it doesn't. It's certainly no like Righteous Gemstones. It's cannot be duplicated. Like that is its own thing, and
Right.
Smallville is part of Superman. But there's something about Longmire that just me and all those grandparents got into. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the characters are really relatable. And I think the show changed a lot because it went to a different network. It almost died and then it came back. And I think it got its legs a little bit in its ability to like be a little edgier and not have to be just in that 42-minute world of a procedural. But there are other shows like it, Abe. But I think they most of them came after us. Um, maybe Justified was sort of the first sort of Western that came before us, but a lot of shows have come after that. So I think Longmire was doing a little trailblazing too.
Absolutely. Well, is there anything that you don't get, like no one ever brings up that you're like, this is something I'm really proud of? I wish people were like, oh, you're from that.
Oh man, that's a really great question. I think I just don't expect anyone to bring anything I think I'm just always like surprised, even still to this day, when someone's like, "Oh, I love your work." Like it still just hits me in such a like place of gratitude and like honored that someone, because I know it takes strength to do that. It takes courage to say that to someone that you admire. I've literally been like shocked in the airport, being like, I can't talk to that person that I admire. So I think it takes a lot of courage, but no, I've loved every single one of the jobs that I've had in different ways, and I've gotten to play some really, really cool characters. And I think there's something for everyone in the genre world. But no, I'm eager for whatever's to come.
What is to come? Do you have anything you could talk about that's going to happen next?
I'm shooting a movie here in New Mexico next month, an independent film that my very dear friend Kristen Goodman wrote and is also directing. It's really fun. It's kind of about like influencers. It's kind of a dark comedy about like the downfall and the drama of influencers, but then also how like that can affect someone's real life. So that I think is going to be something new and different to do. But after that, who knows?
Well, what are you watching? What have you seen recently on TV that's really stuck with you?
Oh man, I like tried to get my child to go play in the other room so I could watch The Last of Us the other night. She kept trying to come in and be like, "What's with the monsters?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, this is not for a 3-year-old." Um, And what else are we watching? I mean, we've been watching Jemmys just because like we have little watch parties with my family. That's really sweet. But The Last of Us has me. It always has. White Lotus had me. It always has. Getting to see Walton do his thing. And then, because I do have a 3-year-old, like a healthy dose of Ratatouille, Peppa Pig, you know, the classics, the movie classics. I don't know if you go back and ever watch like Disney movies, but it's pretty amazing. Lion King might be the perfect film. It's a strange thing to say, but it's really, really good. Oh, and I watched Adolescence, which blew me away. That show, I watched it in a day. I couldn't stop watching it. It was so good. Um, but that's about it for right now.
Awesome. Good choices, certainly. It's been such a
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Abe, thank you so much. Really nice talking.